Well, week 6 in the books. We've got the usual stuff for you. Look at the last week's games, some news, injury updates, and look into next week. We've got the waiver pickups and projection beaters. We had a question in the inbox, and Lou's managed to turn it into a 20-minute segment of Al and I making daft noises. And as always, we've got some enticing assorted nuggets, such as some in-depth marine biology talk and a dubious Sherlock Holmes joke. I'm Alex Sharples. I'm here with Alex and Lewis Brindle. This is In the Pocket Across the Pond.
Right, lads, that's week 6 done. There's only really one place to start, and it is no more undefeated teams. We had the 49ers and the Eagles both being taken down by backup quarterbacks. I will note as well the Bills almost did as well. Talk to me about these games. We'll start with the 49ers Browns, Al.
Maybe all of that shade that maybe just I was throwing to the Browns defence last week and the week before. Maybe I'm an idiot because, it looked like a really hard place to play. I mean, it sounded loud. It sounded really loud. I'm a huge Brock Purdy fan. He didn't have the greatest game ever. However, saying that, we can't ignore the fact that Brock Purdy did drive his team down the field and gave them an opportunity to win this game, and the rookie kicker misses his second kick of the day, which, not great stuff. I mean, it was a really good game, to be honest. Hard luck with for the 49ers with McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel going out. However, if that's me, I'm hyper-targeting George Kittle. I don't know about you, Sharples, but if I lose Samuel and McCaffrey and we're in the fourth quarter and we need to drive to get a touchdown or a field goal to win, I'm hyper-targeting George Kittle. You saw it happen the week before with Kittle getting 3 touchdowns, and Kittle went missing in this game. I'm not sure what the crack was there. But, I mean, really good result for the Browns. Really good team effort. Amari Cooper with an amazing catch on the sideline. We watched this together, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, I would have brought Kittle more into the game. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, Kittle or even Ayuk. I mean, I do think Kittle will be the number one. I mean, I suppose it's hard to game plan for when not only your best offensive player, but arguably your second best one goes off as well. Obviously, credit to the Browns, but I just think the Niners offense was just disrupted a bit too much. But you'd think at this level with what an amazing coach Kyle Shanahan is, they could have adjusted to it. And like you say, at the end of the day, if I was a Niners fan, I wouldn't read too much into it. I mean, not the best game from Purdy, but with his 2 best weapons gone, he drove them up there, and Ray Finkel comes on and misses it. There's not an awful lot you can do about
that. Yeah. I still think Brock Purdy is playing in a way and doing things that not many quarterbacks in the league. I'm a huge Brock Purdy fan. I still think he's doing things that not many quarterbacks in the league are doing. And maybe, we just chalk this one off to the Browns defense. Possibly legit. Maybe what's he called? What's the head coach called at the Browns? Stefanski. Maybe Stefanski's seat is cooling down a hell of a lot compared to what I thought it was like at the start of the season. But
yeah. I mean, this is from what I believe. I think I read somewhere this is Purdy's first NFL regular season loss. His first in 15. So I think we can cut him a bit of slack on that one. He's 15-1. He's doing all right.
Yeah.
Well, he's crap now, so... I mean, let's move on to the Eagles' loss to the Jets, which I feel was a little bit more convincing than the 49ers' loss. Does make you painfully wonder what the Jets would look like with Rodgers under centre.
Well, we just got to wait till week 16, Lou.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean... This was a sort of masterclass by the Jets defense. Jalen Hurts, who was fine for fantasy, this is where you see the discrepancy sometimes, because Jalen Hurts, I think he was 4th quarterback overall on the week, 19, 20 points or something like that. He had a bad game. 3 interceptions, including one on the final offensive play where they needed 8 yards for a first down. There was a minute and a bit left, and he's trying to force it down the field to Devonta Smith on a really poor choice throw. Yeah. But that's what this defense can do to you, Sharples, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's kept them close and won them, a couple of games so far. Just don't know what to make of this Jets team. Every time I write them off and say, let's just tank for the draft, they seem to either pull out a big win like this, or I know they lost against the Chiefs, but it was a good performance. And then suddenly you think, all right, they can be okay, and then they'll go and put on a pitiful display like they've done a couple of times this season as well. Just don't know what to get, and I think it all stems from probably the inconsistency at quarterback with Zach Wilson. Is he gonna be the guy who made that crossbody throw for 50 yards, or is he gonna give up 3 interceptions? You just don't know. Maybe they can kick on from this. I think similar for the Eagles, although I think it was probably a worse defeat for the Eagles than it was for the Niners. I think the Niners probably take more positives away. Chalk it down. You had to lose at some point. At least they don't have it hanging over them now. All the pressure of will they go 17-0 or whatever. Go out there, relax a bit more, and have a bit of fun in the red zone.
It's true.
Yeah, I wonder if with some of these teams that are surprising us this season are putting on good performances, I wonder if there's maybe a changing of the guard or a kind of shift in the tide, or whichever expression would fit the best in terms of, we've had over the past 7 years, I suppose, the Sean McVay effect, I believe it's called, where teams hire young offensive minded head coaches, and that was the trend for a while. Now, and albeit Robert Saleh isn't super young, but I mean, I'm looking at Saleh, I'm looking at DeMeco Ryans at the Texans, I'm looking at the cringe bag at the Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon, and the Cardinals haven't got a great record, but everyone is saying that the Cardinals, they're playing tough. So maybe there's a change in that sense, in terms of this idea that you can actually just bring in a really talented coach and he's going to improve at least one side of the ball. But saying that, you've also got Mike McDaniel putting up 1 billion points for Miami, so maybe I'm wrong on that sense. But I mean, defense winning games this weekend, I suppose.
Also interesting to see the Denver Broncos doing the opposite of all that. Was it the Broncos who brought back Rex Ryan as the defensive coordinator this week?
No, they brought I thought their defensive coordinator was Vance Joseph, who
I'm sure someone's brought him in. I mean, he was really
Rex
funny with
Ryan.
the Jets, like one of the best Hard Knocks moments where they're talking about let's go get a snack.
Yeah.
But I'm sure someone's hired Rex Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm on defense and I look to the side to my defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, and it looks like he's trying to, he's got his iPad, the iPad thing out, trying to look at the previous play, and it looks at I don't know, a caveman discovering fire for the first time. Like, this guy just does not. He just looks like he can't use this device.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh no. And because that's a weird one anyway, because Vance Joseph was the Denver Broncos head coach. I mean, Vance Joseph, hell of a lot of pedigree in terms of being a defensive coach. Not doing a great deal at the minute.
I'm just looking at it.
The
Apparently,
Broncos.
there is speculation on the Pat McAfee show. So my bad. He's not.
So
he's not
nothing.
Actually been hired,
So
just
absolute.
rumblings.
Yeah. Nothing then. Moving on to the Giants as well. Giants could have beaten the Bills in this game. The Bills could have been another one of those teams that we're talking about getting beaten by a backup quarterback. Could make a lot of arguments that the Giants should have won as well. I mean, Tyrod Taylor in at quarterback, accurate, got the ball out quick, just poor game management by the Giants in that one. Bills hung on by the skin of the teeth, which I feel like we've said that before.
It's deja vu every year. What the Bills do every year is they have a big win and they convince everyone that they're going to the Super Bowl. Then they'll have about 2 or 3 pretty bad performances, but they might only lose about one of those games. and then they'll win really big, and everyone will be high on them again, and then they'll be average again. And this is why they always get knocked out of the postseason, because they only have one big game in them out of about 3 or 4. I don't know how this Bills team is any different than they've been for the past 4 years, personally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same script, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every single year with the Bills. So, good team, but sort of a bit predictable in that aspect. Elsewhere, Jaguars had a nice win, but still not quite the team I thought they would be. Like, it looks good on paper, but the Colts sort of handed them this win with turnovers. The London game, always as boring as ever, with the Ravens winning. Any other games that you guys want to just have a quick chat about, shout out?
Not the toughest.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Al.
Go on. You go. Shout out.
Thank you, my friend. I was going to say, not the toughest opponent, not as impressive as beating an Eagles or a Niners, but I just thought the Lions keeping the momentum going, beating the Buccaneers. They look like they're for real. They look like they're going to run away with that division, and it's just nice to see a bit of consistency, because I think they were the feel good team last year, but couldn't ever really put it together. They've certainly put it together now. So let's keep it going in Detroit.
Yeah, I liked how the Dolphins gave the Panthers a 14-point head start before they started playing. And quick shout out to Bengals, Seahawks, and Bears, Vikings. 2 of the maybe most nothing games of football I've ever seen, especially that Vikings-Bears one. That was a bad game.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I've got to echo Sharples' sentiments. I think this Lions team looks really good. 5-1. I don't know if you saw the footage of Dan Campbell getting $5 out of his pocket at the end in the locker room after the win. Don't know why. Just $5, 5 wins. They did beat the Bucks, so maybe something to do with that.
There's a pun in there.
There's something in that. There is something in that. But we'll leave it to Dan Campbell. Let's just get into these little categories of ours first, though. Impressive victory this week, Sharples.
I thought this was a tough one, actually. I mean, there was a couple of big performances, but I don't think there's anything massively stand out. So I felt like I had to go for one of the 2 teams that beat the previously undefeated team. So, and I thought the Jets was a more impressive win than the Browns. So I went with the Jets.
Al?
I went with the Lions. Like you was talking to, their offense looks great. The dynamic, as I heard on a YouTube video, the popping guys open, left, right, and centre. That was from a great YouTube video by JT O'Sullivan at QB School. Check out, really good channel, kind of in-depth videos about quarterbacks and the performances. Really good one on Jared Goff so far is the first one from this past weekend of games. And yeah, the offense is it's live at the minute. Let's say they look really good, because that's a game that the Lions lose in previous years. That's a banana skin. The Buccaneers are no slouch. So yeah, Lions.
I also went with the Jets. As I mentioned before, just a bit more convincing than the 49ers loss against the Browns. The Jets just sort of dominated this game on defense. I was impressed to the point where it's like, yeah, this Jets team could make the playoffs. Even with Zach Wilson at quarterback, which is scary for when they do actually have a quarterback who can function as the quarterback. Not buying it, win, Sharples.
I had to go for the Bengals. I mean, not only, as Al said, it was unconvincing in just that match, but they've just been like this all season, and I keep waiting for the moment when they explode. And yeah, I know obviously Jamar Chase got his 50-piece last week, but the offense still is not there. And when they've got some of those pieces, the Mixons, the Higgins, even Tyler Boyd caught a few passes. Like, they're all there. Let's use them. So, so they've won, but I still don't see where this momentum's going to come from. I think they just need to get themselves to the end of the season and do a bit of a reset over the summer.
Yeah.
Al?
I'm going to go Vikings for the exact same reasons, to be honest with you. Just completely unconvincing. I'm not sure where this team goes. But yeah, I mean, just quickly on the Bengals game. Next week, on our kind of mid-season review, it's going to be interesting to talk about the most disappointing teams, because the Bengals are there, but you know who are right there with them? The Seahawks, who the Bengals beat. What's going on there? It's super disappointing. I feel like the Seahawks have been a low-key disappointing team this year. Really disappointed with them, but we'll get into it next week, sorry, but not buying it when Vikings.
Yeah, I also went the Vikings. This Vikings team made pretty hard work of an awful Bears defence and an undrafted rookie quarterback who came in for Justin Fields. So, I think I mentioned it maybe when we were watching Red Zone together that Kirk Cousins, to me, they're saying he's not being traded, but, this team needs a reset, really. They've got Justin Jefferson. Let's reset while Jefferson is still well in his prime, got a lot of years left. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback who can still do good things for teams. The Steelers, the Falcons, just two teams that are exponentially better with Cousins on the roster. Just something to think about. But yeah, this empty win, really. This Vikings team isn't doing anything. Worst team, Sharples.
These guys were already circling the drain, but with Tannehill going off injured, just looked like they don't even know if they're going to score any more points this season. Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, is it? Is it what I've got written down here? Is it the Patriots?
Okay.
Is it?
Could
I think
be.
It might be.
Could be.
Mac Jones, just side note again, Mac Jones, referring back to the QB School YouTube channel, some really good analysis on just how unpolished Mac Jones looks now, and that was kind of the big thing about Mac Jones coming out of college, the kind of NFL readiness, the footwork, and he's all over the place.
Yeah.
Maybe they ruined him, I don't know.
Yeah. Potentially. I wrote two names down. One of them's already been said. I won't tell you which. So I'll go for the other one, which no one said, and I'll say the Broncos. Just for a bit of fun, because I think that the Broncos are the funniest team to have as your worst team in the league. Like, the Patriots is like, that feels good, because it's like, wow, it's the Patriots. But the Broncos are hilariously bad.
They want to lose, though, don't they?
Yeah, true. But let's get into some of the best players on the week. I will say, there was a lot of fine performances this week, an awful lot of 10 to 15 point games, really. Quarterback Dak Prescott was the number one quarterback on the week with 24 points.
Lads, we don't want to embarrass him on this podcast, but I feel like there might be a certain head coach of the Dallas Cowboys that's an avid listener, because we did mention last week about Prescott needing to use his legs a little more. So, Mike, you're welcome.
Welcome in.
Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome in. Welcome in, Mike. We had Lamar Jackson listening to us in week one, obviously. Listen, it's all right. They find an under the radar podcast, which is ours for now.
They find an under the radar podcast
for
and
now.
They say, that's not under the radar enough.
Yeah, and then they look for us.
Yeah,
and then they're like, let's see what these guys have to say. And they obviously find the excellent analysis, the funny banter, and they learn from it, which is what Mike McCarthy did this week.
I bet Mike McCarthy can do a banging Jamie Carragher impression now.
Yeah.
I bet he can.
That bit was cut off when you saw them in the locker room after the win. That bit it got cut off of the video.
Absolutely. But yeah, the best players on the week. Quarterback, Dak Prescott, number one. Tua, 2. Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Sam Howell as well had a nice game.
Just shows you how overpowered the rushing is that Hurts is up there.
It does. It really does. As I said, Hurts with 3 interceptions and still one of the better quarterbacks on the week. Running back, Raheem Mostert, Travis Etienne, Karen Williams had another good week.
Karen.
Breece Hall, Derrick Henry. Might have been the first time we've said Derrick Henry's name in one of these sections. Wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Adam Thielen. That's getting boring now. Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen. And then tight end, Travis Kelce, of course, Dalton Schultz, Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, which is crazy.
I'll talk about that a little bit.
Both Falcons tight ends next to each other having a nice game, and then Mayer, the rookie for the rookie for Las Vegas as well. Any words on any of these players, Al?
Yeah, Keenan Allen's just automatic. I feel sorry for everyone, myself included, who went to bed last night with a slight fantasy lead, but they were playing against Keenan Allen because, like I said, the guy's just points galore. So I never really had any hope, but it well and truly shattered when I woke up to see his points. What a great player.
Sharples?
I actually don't this week. I think, like you said, I mean, normally I do a quick scan, then I'll see massive numbers popping off and I'll make a note of them. But to be fair, I think there was a lot of good performances, just not too many amazing ones. So nothing really caught my eye this week, to be fair.
Yeah, true. A lot of fine performances, but there was some poor performances as well. I'll just list some of these players here. Devontae Adams, Brock Purdy, as we mentioned. Puka Nacua had sort of his first down game of his career. Which is shocking to say. DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, which is just 8 targets as well on this one. Very frustrating.
This Jaguars team wants to include Christian Kirk.
They do, and Christian Kirk, because Christian Kirk is a great wide receiver, obviously. T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, hilariously had an awful game.
The Steve Smith thing was great before the game.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy, I mean, I'm not saying he can't be a good wide receiver in the league, but less chatter until you've actually done something. I'd say really, not like. And when I say something, I don't mean string together 3 good games at the end of a season when your team is in the pan.
When I first saw that headline about Steve Smith and Jerry Jeudy having words with each other, I was thinking, what's going on? You never see Jerry Jeudy turning up to the Ashes and kind of sledging Steve Smith, and then I realised that it was a different Steve Smith. Yeah.
And then Cheeky Gabe wasn't so cheeky this week, or was, depending on which way you want to see it.
Can we just mention on Higgins? Hopefully, if you played fantasy last year, you didn't play T. Higgins anyway, like I didn't everywhere have him, because we had this last year. T. Higgins gets injured or it comes into the week questionable and does nothing in the game. So people with their heads screwed on were benching T. Higgins last week.
Of course. But as we say, overall, it was a fairly sort of middling week, both in terms of busts and sort of breakout players, in that everyone sort of gathered up in that middle section. No one really blew up apart from Raheem Mostert, no one completely goosed that much really. But let's move on and have a look how our projection beaters from last week fared with the spreadsheet. Al,
I had a nice week for half of it, I suppose. As we're saying, Prescott and Mostert ones at the position this week. We knew Mostert was a smash play. Addison, are we tweaking our expectations of Jordan Addison in relation to how well this Vikings offense is performing, lads? Because I thought he would just come in there and, like I said last week, not get Jefferson production, but get Jefferson usage. Maybe Jefferson usage for Addison equates to about 12 fantasy points a week. Is that what we're thinking?
I think so. I think he's just a different wide receiver to Justin Jefferson. Obviously, no one's Justin Jefferson, but the wide receiver type as well, I think he's just a bit different, really.
Yeah, and of course, Cole Kmet had 2 really good games, so he got 2.9 and a miss. Sharples, I mean, the middling performances at the start of the season are being shown in our projection beaters. Stafford, Madison and Lamb especially with a nice game. It wasn't quite a hit though, but Logan Thomas, it just goes to show the tight end is just awful to project week in, week out. And Lou, you had a rough week. Geno Smith miss, James Cook miss. Metcalf, we were watching this together. It's super frustrating watching Metcalf week in, week out. But he wasn't a miss. He had an okay game. And Cade Otton, again, going to show why tight ends should be banned from fantasy.
Agreed. We did miss over a section just then. Forgive me for doing it. Obviously, heading to the booth. We skipped over that just because, as I said last week, it's Bill Belichick. Yeah. Bill Belichick's heading to the booth, so it's a bit of a moot point heading to the booth, really. I feel because
I mean, I came up with this fun kind of segment to start the year, heading to the booth. Who's going to be in the commentary booth? See Matt Ryan there pretending he's loving it when really he wants to be out on the field. Yeah, Belichick's just ruined my new segment because it's going to be him every week. So,
agreed.
Thanks, Bill. Thought we had something fun there.
But let's get into some injury news because, it was bad last week. It hasn't gotten any better this week. We'll start off with the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey left the game in the third quarter, oblique and rib injuries, set to have an MRI to determine if he's going to miss any time, but I'd say probably prepare for Christian McCaffrey to at least miss this week. Deebo Samuel was also ruled out of that game with a shoulder injury. X-rays are negative, he's considered day-to-day, but again, questionable for this week. Justin Fields exited in the third quarter, dislocated his thumb and his throwing hand and couldn't grip the ball. Which isn't great when you're throwing the ball, and he's doubtful to play this coming week. Trevor Lawrence as well. This one was a bit out of nowhere, to be honest, because there was no need for it. They were blowing out the Colts, but he ended up leaving the game right near the end in the fourth quarter of a knee injury. He's considered day to day, but what's tricky is the Jaguars play on Thursday Night Football, so they're expecting him to play but monitor it because he could be limited in this game, which sort of could put a cap on any of these receiving options. Jimmy Garoppolo exited in the second quarter in the Las Vegas game with a lower back injury. He was actually taken to hospital for this. They're saying it's not as bad as they thought it'd be, saying it was fine, but again, expect Jimmy Garoppolo to miss some time, so Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers might take a hit there. Karen Williams, sprained ankle. Again, this was another one which just came about at the end of the game. No reason to, because the Rams had this game won. And now he's got a sprained ankle and he's going to miss at least this coming week. David Montgomery as well exited in the second quarter with a rib injury. Lions coach Dan Campbell says he will be out a little bit, whatever that means.
What does that mean?
Exactly. Damien Harris, I just think this is worth mentioning. Running back for the Bills, stretchered off in Sunday Night Football after sustaining a neck injury, taken to hospital, but thankfully showing movement in all extremities, all that sort of stuff. He's back at home recovering. Turns out it was a neck sprain. He's also been evaluated for a concussion, but undetermined how long he will be out in that backfield. But in the same game, Josh Allen exited briefly with a suspected head injury, then came back in, and then after the game was being evaluated for a right shoulder injury. So he's considered day-to-day, so just monitor that one. And Ryan Tannehill exited with a third quarter with an ankle injury, on crutches in the sideline. We now know it's a high ankle sprain, similar to what he did last year, which kept him out all that time. He had to play through it, so not great for this Titans team, and not great for fantasy, really. All those injuries.
Did you say the injury update that the Colts owner gave a few hours ago?
That's it. And Colts owner Jim Irsay suspecting that Anthony Richardson might, presumably, could get season-ending surgery on his shoulder. Why
would he say he could be out for the season if he wasn't? Is all I'm thinking.
So, Anthony Richardson might be done for the year, which is gutting. But obviously, that organisation wanting to shore up their long-term prospect in Richardson. They've seen what they need to see from him. Just a shame that it's happened as it is.
Yeah.
But moving on, lads. This week, I just wanted to... this was suggested in the emails this past week by Rob, our only emailer.
Hey.
He's back again. And we actually missed this last week, and he was talking specifically about week 5, but I thought it was fun to spin into an actual segment. He asked us who we think our biggest surprises and disappointments are on the season so far. So I thought it'd be fun for you guys to react to some players. I got some running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends here.
Do you just make a noise?
Yes, please. Okay. Right. So I'm going to talk about, first and foremost, some running backs who we're surprised at. I'm going to tell you where they are position-wise in terms of the rankings right now and where their ADP was. And I want just a little noise maybe, and then we can get into more detailed analysis. But the noise is more important here. So Raheem Mostert, drafted as the running back 41 is the running back 2. Al?
Mm-hmm.
Sharples? Okay. 2 different noises there. Al?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I said it this past off-season, but I've definitely said it on the podcast, on air in the past. All Raheem Mostert does is get put into crowded running back rooms and win the starting role. That's all Raheem Mostert seems to do. So he was always going to be a draft bargain. Obviously, the Achan injury helps him out. He's lightning as well. Yeah. I mean, if you were to say at the start of the season, oh, you're going to draft Raheem Mostert at the end of the draft, but you're going to be playing him every week come week 3, I've been like, yeah, I'm not that surprised by that, actually, because that's happened before.
Okay, fair enough. In Sharples?
No, I mean, I thought it was going into a 4-man timeshare, really. Obviously didn't know much about Achan. I think you're underplaying the Achan injury a little bit there, Al. I think if he was still around, there'd be a bit more of a cap on
Mostert was still good. Mostert was still good with Achan in there.
Yeah, no, he was. But literally now, he might actually finish as a running back 1 at this point if he keeps going the way he does. So yeah, no, I didn't expect this one. I thought it was going to be committee. I thought it was going to be 3-headed monster type thing. So yeah, fair play, Raheem. And I do remember you saying that about the that's what he does, Al. So yeah, I've got the receipt on that one for you.
Good. Thank you.
And I mean, and just on these players, do we think this is sustainable?
Yeah.
Sharples?
For Mostert now, yeah, particularly now that, especially now that Achan's gone. I mean, they look like the best offense. He's the lead running back by far in it. So yeah, there's no reason that he's going to slow down.
Okay. Karen Williams drafted as the running back 81. The running back 4, Sharples, a noise.
Who's that?
Who?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was an owl.
And explain, is this sustainable again for Karen?
Nah.
No?
Who is he?
No,
I don't think so. I'm not super excited about Karen.
No.
Rest of season / dynasty.
Okay, Sharples.
I think he'll finish as a top 10 back. Again,
Top 10.
Oh,
yeah.
disagree.
No? All right. Well,
Disagree.
I mean, obviously,
I'll bet you on that.
Okay, I'm pretty confident.
Top 10. I know running back scoring's been down, but top 10's rich for a guy that has come out of nowhere and that is going to miss at least 1 week.
All right, well, injury dependent.
No.
Which I was about to say before
the listeners can hear
interrupted.
footsteps, and that's Alex Sharples backtracking.
Yeah.
If it's 1 week, if he misses a week, I still think he'll be top 10. Put it that way.
Okay.
Listen,
Write that down.
I seem to favour with Sharples here because we're a third of the way into the season and he's the running back 4 and he's the clear leader in this backfield to the point where now he's out, you don't really know who to pick up because he's been the guy. So, yeah, interesting one. This one is even more interesting, actually. Zachary Moss. Drafted as the running back 67. He's the running back 5. Is this all done now? Taylor's back. Give me a noise on Zach Moss, Al.
See ya.
Okay.
It's not really nice.
I know. Sharples noise. That's better.
Couldn't think.
Not a word. More of a noise.
He said a word last time.
Yeah. So I'm getting from both of you that you think he's done.
Unfortunately, yeah, I think it's been one of the kind of amazing kind of character arcs of the NFL over the past few years. The Zach Moss kind of rise to power, if you will. But they just paid Jonathan Taylor a truckload of money. So
True.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the strange position where I drafted Jonathan Taylor in the 10th, had him sat on my IR, and I picked up Zach Moss in week 1 or maybe week 2 off the waivers. So I've had the benefit of Zach Moss, and he has been fantastic. But it's got to drop off. I mean, I still think for this next week, I think you could play them both because they both combined for about 30 points this week. But they've just paid Taylor, unless he gets out again, unless he gets injured. I just don't see any way in which the workload for Taylor doesn't start slowly increasing and therefore slowly decreases for Moss. So it's been fun, Zach. It's been great. I bloody love you, Zach, but no.
Yeah, I agree. Which is a shame because running back 5 after 6 weeks is no small feat. And then one more. Isaiah Pacheco, drafted as a running back 29. He's the running back 13 with sort of minimal competition at his position. A little noise on Pacheco, guys? Sharples? Again, two very different noises.
Mine's more of an acknowledgement of, like...
how much he looks like Jack from Jack and Daxter in Jack and Daxter 2.
I didn't play Jack and Daxter.
Okay, no. So it's not an acknowledgement about how much he looks like Jack from Jack and Daxter 2. Google it.
I'll Google it. Mine's more of a, I don't think he's a particularly flashy running back, but it's more of an acknowledgement that he's the guy in Kansas City now. They're not really doing anything with Jerick McKinnon at the moment, or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and it's like, maybe they're just going to have Pacheco as the kind of complementary running back for hopefully what a really good offense that kind of gets out of this little slump that they're in at the minute.
Very optimistic. Sharples wasn't as optimistic.
No, I just think, fair play to him, he's doing all right, but I just think for a long time now, this Chiefs running back room has just been a dead zone. And, just when you start to think you're getting a bit of momentum with someone, they'll just drop off or, they'll get injured or something. So, yeah, fair play to him. But we've seen it with Clyde. We thought we were going to see it with McKinnon, and now we're seeing a bit with Pacheco. The truth is, unless you're Travis Kelce, there's no guarantee you're getting the ball.
So you don't think You don't think running back 13 is sustainable for Pacheco?
No, I don't. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think he's going to break the top 10. Put it that way. Maybe he'll sit there at 13, but I think top 20 is more his wheelhouse.
Of course. Now, a couple of disappointments at running back. These noises are going to be key. These noises are going to be interesting. Najee Harris, drafted as the running back 9. He's currently the running back 45. Al. Mm-hmm. Ooh, smug. Sharples. Yes.
I'm a big Najee Harris fan, but this isn't surprising anyone, is it?
No, I mean, the fact that he's doing this poor might be surprising. Sharples, what do you reckon?
I'm surprised. I thought he was going to be, what was he going third round? I thought he was going to be your stable RB2 to go alongside your big RB1. For example, when I picked up McCaffrey, I was definitely looking at Harris in that sort of second, third turn. I thought it'd be, maybe not the high heights, but sort of between, 15 points a game, that type of thing. Just been nothing. Like, no booms,
absolutely,
all busts, no consistent points. I mean, Jalen Warren, who you probably went undrafted, has been the much better in that backfield. So, yeah, no, complete flop.
Certainly. Yeah, agree with that. Can he turn it round, or is this Harris?
I think this might be him.
Yeah. I got offered a trade. I mean, it was a terrible trade. It was very cheeky, but someone offered me Najee Harris, and I just, no. Like, why would I want him? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely not, yeah. True. And then Miles Sanders as well. ADP running back 19. So in and amongst that running back 2, running back 3 flex sort of region, he's the running back 33. He's been poor, really. Noise on Sanders. Sharples.
Mm-hmm.
Sassy.
Mm-hmm.
So not a Sanders fan, Sharples?
You boys remember my first season. I'd done all my prep. I'd listened to the podcast. I was assured that Miles Sanders in the second or third round, I think it was second round, would be an absolute smash player. And he was terrible. And ever since then, he's always been terrible. And people were getting the hopes of, he's going to be the feature back in Carolina. Oh, great. So a not very good offense with a not very good player. That's going to be great. And he's been rubbish. He is rubbish.
Yeah.
That you drafting him was off the back of him knocking me out of the fantasy playoffs with like the best game of his whole career, which I've never forgiven him for either.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll move on to wide receivers. I will say, lads, there's 10 players left to talk about yet, so just think about more noises.
Well, can we group them?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Wide receiver surprises. Ooh. Adam Thielen, drafted as a wide receiver 50, going with his age. But now the wide receiver 3 on the season.
Ooh.
That'll do, Al. Ooh, Sharples.
We just got like a cash register sound effect that we can just go
Cha-ching. Yeah, there you go. We'll just use your voice. That was perfect, mate.
Yeah. I think that was better than an actual cash register. Yeah, Adam Thielen. What can you say about the man? 13th round. I snatched him up in. Yeah, unbelievable. Far better than I thought he'd be. I thought he might.
This guy acting like he invented Adam Thielen.
Yeah. No.
You got to be pretty old to have invented Adam Thielen.
Sort of touchdown dependent. I thought he'd probably be the best receiver in that team, but I wasn't saying much. But no, all the targets, all the touchdowns, garbage time, regular time. Who cares? Very happy I drafted Adam Thielen.
And is he going to sustain this, Al?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I know you think so, Sharples. A bit more of an interesting one in terms of if he's going to sustain where he's at. Puka Nacua, ADP wide receiver 101. I mean, that means nothing because he wasn't drafted at all. You know, it says wide receiver 101, but no. Consider that undrafted. And he's the wide receiver 6. Yeah. Do we see him? I mean, I don't think any of us see him being the wide receiver 6, but give me a noise as to sort of, is he going to be a wide receiver 1, Al?
Nah.
Sharples?
Nah.
No. Why?
Why is he not going to be a wide receiver 1? My voice cracked then. Because Cooper Kupp's back.
Yeah.
Because Cooper Kupp's miles better.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that there's going to be 2 wide receiver 1s on that team, but Sharples, I mean, go on. What do you reckon on Nacua rest of season?
Cooper Kupp's going to come back and be a black hole of targets, you'd imagine. Stafford loves him. He loves Stafford. Nakua's been really good, but he's flourished in a cupless environment. Let's see it after a few weeks. I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but that Rams offense it's not like a juggernaut like Miami. I don't think there's quite enough room to support 2 wide receiver 1s, and I think it'll be Puka that makes way for Cooper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also heard that Puka Nacua only has mugs in his house to keep his house a cupless zone.
Yeah.
And he's trying to translate that to the team.
A mug is a cup.
No, shut up though. But like, mug's a mug, cup's a glass.
You just said 3 different things. No, a mug's a mug, but a cup's a glass.
What? You know what I mean? If you say cup, you're not really thinking about a mug, you're thinking about like a glass. Whereas if you say put it in a cup, it suggests to me like a glass cup.
But if you asked for a cup of coffee, you'd expect it to be served in a mug, would you not?
That's very true. That is very true. Okay, hold my hands up here. The logic of that joke wasn't sound. Nico Collins next. ADP wide receiver 58. He's the wide receiver 11. Little noise on Collins, Al.
Can I give you a little short statement?
Go on.
Told you so.
Told you so.
I was advocating drafting Collins towards the end of the draft because he's a player that could be a wide receiver 1 for a team, and he was going undrafted in fantasy drafts. So, told you so. I didn't know he was going to be this good, obviously. I'm not going to claim that.
And Sharples, little noise on Collins.
I mean,
not as
it's
optimistic.
He's been good. He's been fine. But if it's not him, it's going to be Tank Dell or even Robert Woods. Like I don't think he's the flat out one on that team. I think it's going to mix around a lot. And so, I mean, obviously from given his ADP, he's been great. But he doesn't excite me in the way that some of the other names that we've talked about do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get into some wide receiver disappointments.
I've got a noise for all 3 of these guys.
Well, that's what I mean. I was going to bunch these guys together actually because I feel like we talk about these 3 players so much every year on this podcast. By every year, I mean this year and last year because of the only 2 years we've done the podcast. So I'll let you do your noise, Al.
I'm going to do it with my voice.
Yeah. It's Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, and DK Metcalf.
This is all me.
Impressive pipes there, Al. Little noise on these guys, Sharples?
I can't actually make the noise because it's one of those, like, you know when you die and you take your very last breath, like that noise. You can't recreate it, unfortunately, but in hopefully sort of like 70 or so years' time, if you sat on my at my bedside, just stick a recording out because that's what you'll hear. That's the noise that I make every time I check the motley crew of players' scores each week.
Yeah, great. I mean, I'll just go through their average draft position and where they're at the minute. So you had Waddle as the wide receiver 11, and he is currently the wide receiver 37. You had Higgins as the wide receiver 14, and he is currently the wide receiver 65. And you had DK Metcalf as the wide receiver 15, and he is currently the wide receiver 36. All pretty disappointing stuff from these guys, really.
The Waddle thing, it's like the Talladega Nights scene where John C. Reilly's character asks if he can win a race, and that's like Waddle asking Tyreek Hill if he can have a really huge fantasy game.
Yeah.
And you know, Hill's like, well, how am I going to win?
Yeah.
Then if you win, how am I going to win?
Great.
You know, because Waddle, he'll have his moments. He had a nice fantasy day on Sunday, but he just like he can't completely blow up because Hill has to do that every week.
That's true.
Every time I see Tyreek Hill on Red Zone, he's like jumping into the crowd because he's scored a touchdown in the same corner of the stadium.
Yeah, that right hand side corner.
Yeah.
I mean, Sharples, these three guys, just out of these three, who do you think is most likely to turn it round and get closer to that ADP by the end of the season?
Ooh, tough one. I think T. Higgins is probably out already. I think he's missed a lot of games, and I just think the way
T. Higgins has only missed one game.
Is it? It feels like more. My apologies.
It feels like more. It does feel like more, but that is crucial.
Right,
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I just think the way this Bengals offense is stuttering, there's only enough room to support one, and that's going to be Jamar Chase. So I think he's out. Maybe a similar story with DK Metcalf in Seattle. I know that Geno's not been the smash play that I was hoping he'd be. So I think based on that, I'd probably have to go with Jalen Waddle. I mean, even though he is picking up Tyreek Hill's scraps, there's a lot of scraps to go around. It's like, you know, when like a blue whale dies and it sinks to the bottom of the ocean and all kinds of sea creatures come out, and Jalen Waddle, a basking shark, maybe some jellyfish. You know, I reckon a jellyfish in that Miami Dolphins offense could probably go for 15.
How about a penguin?
How's he getting down there, mate?
I don't know. You ask him, he'll waddle down there somehow.
Okay, good. One thing on T. Higgins, I think this kind of real stop-start inconsistent season from Higgins is kind of just like it's just the script for him to then get traded at the end of the season or leave at the end of the season. I don't know what his contract situation is, but it's kind of, you already kind of know something really special has to happen for them to keep Higgins and Chase around, and this real inconsistent season just seems like it's kind of it with him in Cincinnati now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I sort of agree, but moving on from those guys, quarterback, we've just got a couple of names here. Jared Goff was drafted as a quarterback 17. He is now the quarterback 4. Just a weird one on this as well. He's the quarterback 4 along with Patrick Mahomes. They both have the exact same number of fantasy points through 6 games, which is 116.22, which is crazy. Little noise on Goff.
I was trying to find a clip of Hulk Hogan saying, "Hell yeah, brother," because that's a bit like brother. What Dan Campbell sounds like as well.
Sharples?
I've just gone with
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean,
excellent.
Showed flashes of it last season, but I would have never thought he could put it together. I think it also helps that Patrick Mahomes hasn't been great. But yeah, fair play to him. Let's keep it going.
And then, you know, sort of springboarding off what we're talking about with Higgins, Joe Burrow drafted as a quarterback 5. He's currently the quarterback 22. Give me a noise as to if you think he's going to turn it round, Al. Sharples?
I think that's basically my noise as well.
Certainly hope so.
A hopeful noise.
I think at this point I'm starting to check out on them already. To be honest, it's just not coming with any consistency, and I don't really know what the problem is because I know he's a good player. I know he's got good players around him. They're just not doing it, and it's like we're in.
Of course,
played 6 games now, lads. Let's do it, but they're just not. So no, I'm not super confident. I got to be honest.
Yeah. Absolutely, I know. I agree with that. It's tentatively moving forward with Joe Burrow, but even in a game this week where they won, he wasn't a great fantasy start. No. And then tight end, we won't spend too long on tight end, I'll be honest with you. But Sam Laporta, rookie Sam Laporta, drafted as a tight end 16. He's the tight end 2. Give me a noise, both of you, in 3, 2, 1. I assume that means cool, good. Yeah,
that meas it's tight end, so whatever.
And then this is just one for me. I'll make the noise on this one. Darren Waller drafted as the tight end 5. Some of us drafted him as the tight end 2. He's currently the tight end 11.
Embarrassing.
He's my noise, but Darren Waller.
Embarrassing for you, mate.
Yeah, great. But that was that section. Thanks, guys. Let's move on and talk about some waiver wire pickups, who we think you should be adding. This week, I'll start. I'm going to say Elijah Mitchell, running back for the San Francisco 49ers, because if Christian McCaffrey's out, I think Mitchell is easily the backup there. And he should get plenty of work. Mitchell's filled in the past. He's a decent player. So if McCaffrey's out, pick up Mitchell. He's out there in over 50% of leagues. And then also Roshan Johnson, who's also available in over 50% of leagues. Rookie running back for the Bears. Donna Foreman came in this week. Didn't really do much. I feel like Johnson, you got to bet on the rookie. See what's there. I know you've spoke about him as well, Al. So I'd be picking up Johnson as well. Al, who are your waiver pickups?
I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard. He's getting a bunch of work. We just talked about how bad Miles Sanders is. Hubbard had 15, 16 carries this weekend. So they might have just given him the reins. And Jameson Williams had a nice fantasy game. He's going to be incorporated into this offence. This offence is popping off, as we said. You want pieces in this Detroit Lions offence. You never know. In a month's time, we could be looking at the Detroit Lions offence like we're looking at the Miami offence in terms of give us pieces. So pick up Jameson Williams while you can, I would say.
Absolutely. Sharples?
And the cynic in me, even though I don't want this because he's my fantasy MVP, the cynic in me says Amon-Ra St. Brown is an injury-prone footballer as well. So,
yeah. Sharples?
I went for a pretty obvious one, first of all. Zach Evans, running back for the Rams. Obviously, Karen Williams looking like he's not going to play this week. So, Zach Evans appears to be next man up, although it could be a bit of a committee, but only rostered in 0.4% of leagues, so why not take a punt on him? And a guy who's rostered a fair amount, 26.8%, Kareem Hunt, running back for the Browns, looked quite lively against the 49ers to me.
Agreed.
12 carries, 44 yards, and got himself a touchdown, a little bit of passing work as well. And I just think that with Chubb out there, I mean, there's no reason why you can't come back and take this number one spot, really, over Jerome Ford. And even if not, there seems to be a decent amount of work going around. So yeah, I think Kareem Hunt could emerge as that Browns number one running back.
Yeah, I'd hammer that one home. I mean, you had Hunt come in off the street and get 5 carries in 2 games. They go into the bye week. They properly implement Hunt into the offense, and he comes out and he has like a kind of classic Kareem Hunt game. So yeah, 100%, I agree with the Kareem Hunt one.
Absolutely. Teams on a bye this week. There's quite a lot. Panthers, Texans, Cowboys, Jets, Titans, Bengals. Let's look forward to week 7.
Yes, week 7. Starting it off as we always do, we forget about it, the players that are locked into your lineup. Don't worry about it. Get them in the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson, stick with it. Justin Herbert, stick with it as well.
Forget about it.
At the running back position, McCaffrey, if he plays, that is, of course, you're playing him if he plays. Bijan Robinson, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Travis Etienne, Ken Walker. Alvin Kamara is really good. He looks really good at the minute. Raheem Mostert. And you know I'm a Swiftie, guys. You know I'm a Swiftie. It's DeAndre Swift.
Forget about it.
Wide receiver, Tyreek, Adams, Diggs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chris Olave, AJ Brown, Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen.
Forget about it.
And tight end, Travis Kelce, TJ Hockenson, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, Sam Laporta.
Forget about it.
Disappointing week for Kittle, but we're sticking with him, of course.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. I better.
That was
Let me guess. Let's guess.
breaking news, guys.
Is it?
No. It's the Eagles have signed a wide receiver.
Oh.
Who've they signed? Al, who do you think the Eagles have
Can you
signed?
give us a clue?
Wait, is it
Veteran wide receiver.
Is it a trade or a free agent acquisition?
Free agent, veteran wide receiver.
And let us ask one more question. Do you think this means anything?
No.
Free agent, veteran, wide receiver. It's going to be somebody like, like a Julio Jones or something. No, Julio Jones. No, is he retired? Julio Jones. Did he retire?
I don't know. Sharples, who do you think?
I think it's got to be after his back and forth with Jerry Jeudy, Steve Smith Sr.
Steve Smith Senior. It is actually Steve Smith. No, it's Jerry. No, it's not Jerry Jeudy either. It's Julio Jones.
Oh,
Julio Jones.
Wow.
Once upon a time, easily the best receiver in the league.
Oh yeah. When I could only think of veteran running backs, and then Jones is the only veteran wide receiver I could think of that's kind of not on a team. I thought he retired for.
No, he's still coming after a ring.
Yeah.
But moving on, projection beaters, guys who we think you can start, who are going to beat the ESPN projection. We'll start with running back this week and Sharples.
So already mentioned him, but I'm going for Kareem Hunt, running back for the Browns. Projected a measly 8 points this week against an Indianapolis team that's not been great against the run. I think it's going to be a sneaky good game, this one. I don't know why, because these two haven't been great, but I think there's going to be points in it. And like I said, I feel like Kareem Hunt could have already won the starter's job by this point. So given that he's only projected 8, is a real snip. Not much more to say other than that. It's low projection. Let's go in and beat it, Kareem.
Nice.
I'm going to go with Ramondre Stevenson, projected 12.6. Stevenson's been really hit or miss this year. Definitely hasn't been the player that we wanted him to be for fantasy. Probably down to an awful Patriots team whose offense is somehow worse than last year, but his usage through 6 games has been solid, averaging 17 opportunities a game, which is right on the money. Exactly what you want from a running back on your starting fantasy team. And you can't ask for much more from a player in Stevenson's position who he isn't a bell cow back or anything like that. This week he's against the Bills, who have actually been surprisingly generous to opposing running backs. They've allowed the 5th most rushing yards and 5th most receiving yards to running backs so far this season. They're giving up a total of 146 scrimmage yards to the position. Patriots, the heavy underdogs in this game. Expectation is, as always, they're going to be playing from behind like they have done most of the season, but with this exploitable run defence that they're facing and Stevenson being sort of undeniably, one of, if not the most talented player on the roster, they're going to get him involved no matter what the score, so I think he's going to be leaned on a lot in this game, whatever the game script.
And I will go Isaiah Pacheco, projected 16.1 versus the Chargers. Whilst it's true that the Chiefs' passing game and offense as a whole hasn't been clicking, Pacheco has been really good so far for fantasy. He's running back 12 on the season, in fact, averaging over 15 carries per game and a handful of receptions too. So, as I mentioned before with my noise, he's established himself as the main guy in the backfield. Now, the Chargers, who the Chiefs are playing, are okay against the run in general, but they're giving up the most receiving yards per game in the NFL through 6 games. Just look where Tony Pollard scored his points and had his chunk plays last night against them. Because of this, I was inclined to put McKinnon in here, but actually looking at the numbers, it's Pacheco that's getting all the running back work, that being the receptions as well. So you couple the ability in this game to see more production through the air than he might usually have with a guy in Pacheco that is running downhill at the minute. I think that's a recipe for success.
Absolutely. Let's do quarterbacks next. Sharples?
Yeah, so I've gone for Josh Dobbs, quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. Been a little bit up and down this season. He projected 15.2. And I noticed that apart from he had a really bad game running-wise against Cincinnati, but in his last 4 games, he's pretty much rushed for 50 yards, which is 5 points in the bank straight away when he's not even thrown a football. So I'm banking on that. Against a Seattle team that is giving up the 10th most points to quarterback currently. I think it could be a little mini shootout, this one, because I think not great defenses, both got nothing to lose, both need a win. So I think there's going to be plenty of points scored up on it. That plus Josh Dobbs scrambling for a tasty 70 yards and a touchdown. Smash play. 35 points this week, guaranteed.
Okay.
I do really like Josh Dobbs this week, to be fair. Okay. I do like, he was almost going to be mine.
Amazing. I'm going to go with Brock Purdy, projected 16.8, which I think is outrageous considering he's averaging 17.8 fantasy points so far this year. He's been class. 10 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Everybody this time last week was talking about him in the MVP race, and then he had the worst game of his career this past week against the solid Cleveland Browns defense, which I feel like that defense has more to do with Purdy's performance than not having Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. He's a really good player, primed to bounce back. Yes, he might not have those 2 weapons, but he still has elite weapons in the passing game. Ayuk, Kittle, faces a very beatable Vikings defense this week, who are giving up over 19 fantasy points a game to opposing quarterbacks. The odds have the 49ers 6.5 favourites. Favoured by 6.5, I should say. Giving them an implied total of 27 points. Could easily surpass that, meaning plenty of fantasy points to go around in what's going to be a get-right game for Purdy and the 49ers.
Ooh, nice. And I'm going to go Jordan Love, quarterback for Green Bay, projected 17.8. Again, at Denver, steep projection, and it was a rough game for Love last time we saw him. However, what better way to bounce back than facing the Denver Broncos? They are terrible. Love, he's been spinning it this year, to be fair. I think we can all agree that the 225 and 2 per game pace he was on over the first month of the season, it was legit compared to how he played against the Raiders last time out. If you go back and look at the film of that game, one of the interceptions was pretty alarming, but the others you can kind of put down to play design and scheme. Now, on that, I think Matt LaFleur is a really good coach. He's going to come up with good offensive game plans, so I expect the struggles from the Raiders game to be addressed, to have been addressed over the bye week, I should say. And then shifting over to Denver, the playing, this defense just hasn't been the same. Really, since they traded Bradley Chubb last year, the pass rush is completely disintegrated, so Love's going to have plenty of time to sit in the pocket and hit some strikes downfield. 33 points and 404 yards a game. That's what the Broncos are giving up. They've have 4 receptions all season. That's it. I think Love and the Packers are going to absolutely feast here. Big fancy day ahead for him and the Packers' offensive pieces.
Nice. Let's get tight end out the way, Sharples.
I'm going for the man which I wanted to take last week and should have and didn't. Taysom Hill. Last week he was getting 3.6, so he would have to get negative points for him to be a bust. But in fact, he went and got himself 12 points, something like eight receptions for 40 yards. So that was kicking the teeth when Logan Thomas was projected 8 and got 1. So I'm going back to the well, going back to the anti-bust brigade. Taysom Hill projected 4.5 points, a mighty 4.5 points. So I literally just need him to turn up and not die, and I shouldn't bust.
He's playing the long game. Sharples is playing the long game. We're gonna look at our kind of grid at the end of the season, and Sharples is going to have 2 busts at the tight end position, but an accumulated 12 points over the entire season.
I'm going to go Luke Musgrave. I probably made him my start before, and Alex has as well, probably. He's projected 8.3 this week. Take away the Lions game, which Musgrave got knocked out of. He's averaging 8.2 fantasy points per game so far this season, so certainly an achievable projection. Coming up against Denver, who are dead last against tight ends. I mean, they're dead last against a lot of people, to be honest with you. They're giving up 17.3 points to the position. So, yeah, Musgrave, plug him in.
And now, we went to Sharples' the other night to watch Red Zone, and I remember he said a few weeks ago on this segment that the halls had just been painted. And he believes he was high from the fumes. I believe I'm high from the same fumes. Because I'm going Kyle Pitts.
Wow.
Okay.
Projected 9.4.
Wow. Those pity fumes.
Projected 9.4 at Tampa Bay. He's been good for 2 weeks in a row. Don't look. But he has. In all seriousness, this offense is hyper-targeting the tight ends. 75 targets on the season so far, to be specific. That's 9 ahead of the next closest team. Who's the Chiefs? Who have Travis Kelce, by the way. So Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts are being targeted. Great opportunity for Pitts again. And to be honest, if you're in deep leagues, put Jonnu Smith in. Just do it. The throwing the ball so much to the tight end. Kyle Pitts. Nice. If I was, a bit of a snake like Sharples playing the game, I would have picked Jonnu Smith and his 3-point projection. Yeah. But I'm going for upside. I'm going for Pitts.
Okay. Yeah. Because we want to actually inform the listeners of who they should start. Nobody is wanting to start Taysom Hill.
Well, he got 12 points last week, so if I had stuck to my convictions, people would have been thanking me. So I feel like I've earned a rat play, and this is my rat play.
Okay. It's fantastic. Sharples, who's your wide receiver?
So I've gone for Drake London, wide receiver of the Atlanta Falcons. He's been slowly upticking.
See, Sharples, I heard this team throws the ball to the tight end a lot, though.
I've heard that too. I just don't believe it. So Drake London has had... in the last few weeks, he's gone from 7 targets to 9 targets to a mighty 12 targets last week. Caught 9 of those for 125 yards. So certainly not touchdown dependent. He's projected 12 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Buccaneers have been a little bit of a tough team to predict, but I think Falcons will need to throw the ball in this game. Hopefully they won't throw it to Jonnu every time, and Drake London can slip in for a couple of touchdowns and maybe 300-400 yards.
You two are really, really trusting Desmond Ridder here with your picks. Wow, that is... Okay. I'm going to go Chris Olave, projected 13.9. Currently the wide receiver 21. A couple of poor performances in week 4 and 5, which could be partially traced back to Derek Carr's shoulder injury that seemed to sort of hamper him for a couple of games. Outside of those 2 games, Olave's seen double-digit targets in the other 4 games, including this past week where he got what is becoming a very Chris Olave stat line: 7 catches, 96 yards, no touchdowns. But he's the top wide receiver on this offense in talent and usage. He's going to be needed this week against an informed Jags team who are on a bit of a roll they have proved to be a bit of a pass funnel defence through 6 weeks. Jacksonville's numbers on the ground, they've been solid, but through the air they've given up 1,622 passing yards, which is the most by any team so far this season, along with 9 passing touchdowns. This is a Thursday night game, grim. The over-under betting odds for this game is 39. Also grim, but Derek Carr seemingly back to full health, coming off one of his better performances of the season. I think this is going to be a competitive game in which Olave is going to be relied upon once again as the team's top passing option.
And I'm going to round us off with Christian Watson, projected 12.5 at Denver. Christian Watson, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Many of the same points here for what I said about Jordan Love. The Broncos are terrible. They give up a truckload of points weekly. So I guess why Watson then? Well, he's the wide receiver who can take the top off compared to Romeo Doubs. And that's what we want for fantasy, you know. His career yards per reception's 5 higher than Romeo Doubs, but this season it's more than double Romeo Doubs's. And Dobbs is a nice, dependable wide receiver, but I want the Watson upside. In this game especially, Denver are giving up multiple huge plays per game. I'm just waiting for that partnership between the quarterback and wide receiver to truly kind of form. Guys, I'm feeling an iconic partnership brewing here. You may as well change Jordan Love's last name to Holmes.
Jordan Holmes.
Holmes and Watson.
Okay, right. Okay. Got you. Well done.
That bit too highbrow for you chaps.
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Same, yeah. Okay.
I'm just an uncultured swine.
Same. Let's get into what we know though. These Week 7 game tiers, Sharples.
I think this is the first time ever, boys. I have been trying to be more optimistic, but this is the first time ever where we've got more games in the great and the good than the meh and the bad.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. We got 6 in the lower tiers and 7 in the higher tiers, so hopefully my optimism won't be misplaced. But start with the bad, and they are bad. Bears, Raiders, Giants, Commanders, and Broncos, Packers.
I think the Broncos Packers game could be fun for like fantasy pieces on the Green Bay side. But I suppose, as a neutral watching the game, maybe, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
I just think the Broncos make every game automatically bad. So they'll be in there for the rest of the season. Into the meh, we've got the Saints and the Jags. Bucks against the Falcons, aside from Drake London's 400 receiving yards. Patriots, Bills, and Colts, Browns.
Cool.
I think Colts, Browns are 2 tough teams. That could be an alright game.
I had them in good, and I moved them down.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a sneaky good game, but I couldn't have that many in the good category because it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But in the good, we've got Vikings, Niners, we've got the Ravens, the Lions, Rams versus the Steelers, and hopefully Seahawks versus the Cardinals.
Ooh, Battle of the Birds.
Yeah.
Nice.
And into the great, I think one's undisputed. One, I think you could argue is just based on past performance. But got the Chiefs, Chargers in there, and the Eagles against the Dolphins.
Yeah, the Chiefs Chargers is an interesting one for me because Chiefs games this year bet on the under. So I think that's more of like a good game because this Chiefs defense has been really decent. This could easily just be a bit of a boring, disappointing one, to be honest. But yeah, Eagles Dolphins, that is the game.
Oh yeah, and it's on at a time where we can't watch it.
Oh yes, I'll just throw it out there as well. In our league. I have Chris Olave and Calvin Ridley, who I'm probably playing this week. I have 2 players in the Thursday night game, which is terrifying.
Ooh, wouldn't want that. That ruins your whole weekend.
It really does. Honestly, this is not looking forward to it whatsoever. But yeah. Any closing thoughts, lads?
I'm just happy for Bryce Young. I think he's gonna come out of this weekend without an embarrassing loss.
because he's on a bye.
Yeah.
Get in. That'll do it. Yeah. Let's look forward to week 7. Cheers for listening. As always, if you want to get in touch, in the pocket across the pond at gmail.com, shoot us an email. If you think we're idiots or you got Alex's Sherlock Holmes joke, let us know.
Everyone did, apart from you two.
And we'll see you after week 7. Enjoy. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Get rested, cowboys.
Crabs also appear at a whale carcass.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Jalen Waddle here.